Hello everyone. Today we are dehydrating carrots. Now I bought 3 of these 10-ounce bags of matchstick carrots. And so they're thicker than grated carrots, but they're obviously very, very thin. They're each 10 ounces, so I've got 30 ounces of these carrots. Now normally I'm all about saving money and doing things the least expensive way possible. And these were $1.48 for 10 ounces, and obviously generally you would pay much less than that for carrots. Carrots are very inexpensive. But there are times to simply do things the easy way. And so I am making a goal to do small batch dehydrating and small batch canning on a regular, near daily basis. I don't do things every day, but sometimes I do 3 or 4 projects in a day. And there are times when I simply need to simplify things. So that's why I decided to go ahead and just get these that are already processed for me. Now I am going to blanch them. You can see I've got a pot of boiling water, and I'm going to blanch them. I'm only going to blanch them for about 30 seconds because they're so small. I really don't want to cook them, but I just want to go ahead and blanch them because that's a good thing to do with carrots. I have done carrots before where I haven't blanched them. The taste is fine, but they turn out almost kind of like a white chalky color instead of being a vibrant orange. So I'm hoping that the blanching will help. So I'm going to just put in each of the bags of carrots. And then I'll need to bring it back up to a boil. And like I said, I'm not going to let them boil real long. Let me just get them in there. And obviously when you put stuff into the water, the temperature drops. So we'll need to wait for the temperature to come back up again. And then I might not even keep them in a whole 30 seconds because I definitely don't want them to be cooked. Okay, they've come back to a boil. It's not a real hard boil, but again, because these are so thin and they've actually been sitting in the water, I haven't timed it for at least a few minutes, probably close to 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take them over to the sink and rinse them with cold water to stop the cooking process because I don't actually want to cook them. So I don't actually have a large colander, so I dumped most of the hot water off and I'm putting cold water in now, and then I'm going to drain it out. Doing things in batches here. But the main point here is just to stop the cooking process. Shake off the water because when we're dehydrating, we certainly don't want a whole bunch of extra water. It won't really hurt anything, it'll just take longer. So, take longer to dehydrate. Okay, so here are the carrots that have been blanched and rinsed with cold water to stop the cooking process. And now I'm going to put them on the trays. You'll note that I have the screens on the trays, and that is because these obviously are small, and I suspect that they would just fall through. If I was just putting them on, I'll show you like that, I think they would just fall through. So anyway, if I got a little interrupted there, so sorry if I repeat myself, but if I just put them directly on this, they would just fall right through. Even before they're dehydrated, they would probably fall through, but definitely as they're dehydrating. So I'm using these screens to help keep them from falling through. And by the way, usually I start dehydrating during the day, and then I always, well not always, but a lot of times end up drying things overnight. And so it is close to my bedtime, and so I actually probably will, well, I most certainly will be running these overnight right from the beginning. Generally, I try to show you like 3 hours in what things look like and so on. but it's just working out where I've got a few projects going on tomorrow, so I wanted to go ahead and get these drying tonight. And I'm assuming that they'll be dry in the morning, but I'll show them to you in the morning when they've been going for about 8 hours. Now I do have them piled up pretty high, and since I rinse them, they're wet and so on, so who knows, it might take all night for them. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what they look like in the morning. So basically, my prepping philosophy is to do a little bit consistently. So that's why you'll see me can sometimes just like 3 or 4 jars of something. And then the next day I'll do more. Same with this dehydrating. So I am definitely a small batch prepper. Some people like prep massive amounts of food, or they'll go and they'll buy, you know, like $3,000 worth of food all at once. And this is just much more doable for me. It fits with my budget, it fits with my time, fits with the space that I have, and so on. So don't feel bad if you can't build your preps really fast. If you know, I think about the story of the tortoise and the hare, and slow and steady wins the race, and I really think that's true, because you will, if you just keep adding things to your preps, even if it's just buying a couple more cans of stuff every time you go to the store, you will end up with a full pantry. And so that's what I want to encourage you to do. Don't compare yourself to others that do these super big grocery hauls, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, they spent, you know, on one trip what I can spend in 6 months or something. That's fine, you know. So anyway, all right, so those are heaped up pretty high, so they might take all night. I don't know. We'll find out what they look like in the morning. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get the dehydrator going. Bring this up so that you can see. You can see that fruits and vegetables 135, so I'm going to turn the dial to 135 and plug it in. And I'll see you in the morning and show you what it looks like after it's been going for about 8 hours or so. See you soon. It is now the next morning, and no big surprise when I checked, the carrots were completely dry. You can see how, I mean, let me hold it up so you can see better. They're just like little, almost like hairs. They're so small. And this was from the matchstick cut. And so I'm going to put them into a quart jar, and we'll see how many we ended up with. Now these are kind of sticking a little bit on the mesh trays, the mesh screens. So that might be a little bit of a pain to get off, but I don't think it'll be too bad. What I might end up doing is dumping some of these. Well, let me see. I'm going to see if I can get them down like this. Actually, I think I'm going to end up getting stuff all over my table, which I don't want to do. So I'm just going to do the looser ones, and then I'll come back through and get the rest. Okay, now this tray was actually more full. Yeah, this is, again, it's amazing how much stuff shrinks down. Let's see. And if you have limited space, even if you have a lot of space, it's still nice to store food in different ways, but especially if you have limited pantry space like I do, dehydrating is an excellent way to store more food in less space. Now, you do obviously have to have water to rehydrate things, and so it takes up space from that perspective, but obviously stored water is very versatile. You can do a lot of things with it. You can drink, you can do, drink the water, you can do other things. So I still think that this is a great option. I don't know if I would ever do 100% dehydrated food, but for sure I think it's important to make it a big part of your food storage plan, since you can store so much of it in a small space. Okay, you can see that a ton has fallen down on this bottom tray, which thankfully is good and clean. It's always good to have everything clean. If I had it to do over again, which I probably will, I'll probably do this again, I would maybe put down some of those fruit leather trays, even though things don't dry as quickly, just because it might be easier to get the carrots off. Okay, so I've got most of them in. You can see I've got carrots on my table I'm going to have to clean off. But I wanted to show you what I ended up with. I ended up with about a little more than 2 cups of carrots from those 3 10-ounce packages. I think it was 10 ounce. It was either 10 ounce or 12 ounce packages of the matchstick carrots. So this again is a great way to clear out room in my refrigerator, keep it from spoiling, and store a lot of food in a small space. So I hope that you will give it a try. I will say that the blanching did help, because when I had done grated carrots another time that I didn't record, and the color wasn't as good as this color. It's possible the color would be better on this if I had kept them in the boiling water longer, but again, I was avoiding cooking them because they're so small. So I'm pleased with the results, and I hope that you will I definitely hope that you will give this a try. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you would like it, and of course if you would also subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.